the Hope Diamond. A staggering 45 carats of flawless beauty. Every year, millions come to gaze on America's crown jewel. But rumors of its dreaded curse cast a shadow on this bright gem.
A diamond merchant. He died tragically. He was ripped up by wild dogs.
Now, a chance find of a lifetime, deep in the vaults of a French museum, finally reveals the stone's mysterious origins.
Now we have the lead replica. We have the laser scan data, which means we have everything.
And the source of its infamous curse. From Indian harems and the decadent French court to one of the most audacious jewel heists in history, this is the real story behind the most famous and feared diamond in the world. December 2007. Professor of Mineralogy Francois Farge is inventorying the minerals collections at the French National Museum of Natural History with the help of technician Jean-Marc Foucault. Among the samples, they come across a small box containing an oddly shaped lead cast. It's the kind of replica great jewelers often make as a record of their finest pieces. The label says it's a copy of a diamond, and the lead cast looks like it was made a long time ago. It features an unusual seven-fold symmetry. The only known diamond bearing this design is King Louis XIV's famous blue diamond, also known as the French blue.
Finding the lead cast was the beginning of a great adventure. I remember saying to Jean-Marc, this is a historic moment. It's the kind of thing that only happens once in a scientist's lifetime.
The French blue vanishes during one of the most daring robberies in history. In September 1792, amidst the turmoil of the French Revolution, a gang of thieves loots nearly all of the French crown jewels from the royal treasury called the Garde des Meubles, where they're in temporary storage. The robbers escape with $575 million worth of gold jewelry and precious stones, including Louis XIV's famous gem, the dazzling centerpiece of the royal insignia of the Golden Fleece, a prestigious knightly order. The Golden Fleece and the French blue were never recovered. For centuries, no one knew what became of them. The priceless gems, hailed as masterpieces by the jewelers of their day, were seemingly lost forever. That is, until the chance discovery at the French Natural History Museum. Until now, the only known depiction of the famous diamond was an engraving in an obscure book about the French crown jewels by the historian Germain Bapst, published in 1889. The book contains a detailed engraving of the Order of the Golden Fleece, showing the French blue in its center. It's a highly accurate, life-size representation of the diamond, showing what it looks like from the front and the back. Now comes the moment of truth.
It's the right triangular shape. Here's the big central facet, and the dimensions correspond exactly. Comparing the two, whether you look at them from the front or the back, shows clearly that we really are looking at the famous Paris rose cut right in the center. This corolla of facets that's so typical of the time of Louis XIV. This confirms it. The lead cast really is a copy of the French blue.
Blue diamonds this big are extremely rare. It's hard to imagine that it could vanish without a trace. On the other side of the Atlantic, in Washington, D.C., 6 million visitors enter the Smithsonian's Museum of Natural History every year to see another, slightly smaller, but just as famous blue diamond. The Hope Diamond is a rare, flawless 45-carat gem, estimated to be worth around $300 million. No one knows where it came from, and over the years, the mystery surrounding its origin has sparked wild speculation.
The Hope Diamond is certainly the star of our national gem collection, and really has been since it arrived here in 1958. It immediately became popular with the public. Everybody coming to the Smithsonian wants to see the Hope Diamond. And even though there's been a pretty good history put together, there still were a lot of questions and uncertainties about some of the periods of its history. And even a question of, is the Hope Diamond in fact really the recut version of the diamond we know as the French blue diamond?
French jeweler Charles Barbeau first suggests there might be a connection between the Hope and the French blue in 1858, more than half a century after the theft. But it's not until 1988 that one historian attempts to prove the theory.
The first person who tried to prove the line of descent between the French blue and the Hope Diamond was Bernard Morel. To do so, he used the engraving published by Bapst, which shows a very accurate drawing of the French blue. So he takes the outline of this blue diamond and superimposes over it the outline of the Hope Diamond. But there's a problem. Because in numerous places, the Hope Diamond spills over the outline of the French blue. So in fact, it doesn't work. The Hope Diamond can't have been cut from the French blue.
But Morel refuses to accept defeat. He finds other measurements published by the scientist Mathurin Jacques Brisson in 1787. These dimensions are slightly larger, almost a millimeter wider and 3 millimeters longer.
Et ça, c'est suffisant pour permettre au diamant bleu Hope de rentrer.
And that was enough to get the Hope Diamond to fit inside the French blue. Whether it's tenable to modify a 19th century outline using data from the 18th century, just to give credence to the story that the French blue was recut to create the Hope Diamond, is another matter. It's not really what I'd call sound scholarship.
C'est pas parfaitement rigoureux.